America. We are the greatest nation in the world.
A breath of fresh air.
Common sense.
Very impressive.
He's articulate, and he knows exactly what we need.
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain.
Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain, live. Thank you for joining us, because we're going to tell you the truth and give you the facts, because we want you to be better informed to help make this a better United States of America. Thank you for joining us. I'm back. Yep, I'm back, folks. I took a few days off. And as usual, when I take a few days off, I totally unplug from watching, listening, and reading any news until I'm headed back home. Here are some of the things that didn't change in 5 days, because I totally didn't watch any news for 5 days. First, the President Trump-Russian connection thing is still in the news. Oh, let me go back. News nugget. I'm back. Here's some of the things that are not new since I've been gone. The President Trump-Russian connection thing. There's no new evidence, but the liberals keep spinning the story. And Congress is going to do an investigation. Secondly, the Democrats in Congress trying to slow walk and destroy the Republican plan to repeal and replace the Unaffordable Care Act continues. This is in spite of the fact that the UCA Unaffordable Care Act is imploding and not working as promised. Third, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky and others still wanting to completely repeal the Unaffordable Care Act, knowing full well it changes the votes required from 51 senators to 60 senators to pass anything new. The Democrats have made it perfectly clear that they are against any Republican plan. In fact, listen to what Senator Chuck Schumer has to say about Democrats simply will not support the bill, which will greatly increase the number of Americans losing health coverage.
A total of 52 million Americans living in this country 10 years from now will not have health insurance. That's un-American. That's wrong. We're going to fight it tooth and nail.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is not true. It is the latest in scare tactics on behalf of the Democrats, led by Senator Chuck Schumer. By the way, how does he know how many Americans living in this country will not have health insurance? They weren't even able to predict how many were going to have health insurance when they shoved Obamacare down our throats. Y'all can tell I'm a little passionate about this because I'm sick of the lies. Here's something else that hadn't changed in 5 days. The Trump administration proposed plans to rebuild our military. Democrats are pushing back on that. Why? They say it's too much spending. Never mind that the world is more dangerous today than it was a decade ago, and that our military readiness is way below historic levels. Next, President Trump's claim that the previous president wiretapped his calls and some of his people's calls. An investigation is pending. And continued attempts by the propaganda-driven liberal media to make mountains out of molehills. For example, the number of times that President Trump has spent weekends at his Florida home. Even though he was still working, that wasn't the story. Now, here's the big story that slapped me in the face Tuesday morning when I turned on the TV. News nugget. The Congressional Budget Office scoring of the Affordable Health Care Act. Yeah. And they concluded, erroneously, that it would leave 24 million people without health insurance. 24 million people. If you need further evidence that their finding is bogus, read Dan Calabrese's commentary explaining why. He did a very good job of explaining why it is bogus. I'm only going to give you a couple of the reasons why that CBO report is bogus. First, it relates to the accuracy of the CBO. For example, Secretary of Health and Human Services Tom Price pointed out that the CBO scoring is wrong and not credible. Here's why. When the CBO first scored the UCA back in 2009, it predicted that 24 million people would sign up for the UCA Unaffordable Care Act by 2016. The actual number in 2016 was 12 million. For those who are quick with arithmetic, 12 million is half of 24 million, which means that they were off by 50%. For 2017, the CBO predicted 26 million would sign up for the Unaffordable Care Act. For those of you that are quick with arithmetic, the actual number was 10 million, which means they were more than 50% off. Now, work with me here, folks. This means that the CBO's prediction is off by at least 50% in both of those instances. In other words, 7 million people might lose health insurance without the Affordable Care Act. This is why the liberals' arguments on the basis of the CBO report are insane and illogical. But that's what you're going to continue to hear for the next few days. Once again, the liberals and the Democrats, they don't care about the facts because the facts get in their way of their intended outcome. And the intended outcome that they are looking for, quite simply, is not pass a vote on the Republican plan so they can keep the Unaffordable Care Act, which is a disaster. News nugget. Trump's taxes. The White House says President Donald Trump made more than $150 million in income in 2005 and paid $38 million in income taxes that year. The acknowledgement came as a giddy MSNBC host Rachel Maddow said she has obtained part of Trump's 2005 tax forms and prepared to discuss the document on her Tuesday night show.
What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes.
And she went on to say that this was a bombshell discovery.
He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year.
Which meant that his effective tax rate was 25%. In the same year, President Obama's effective tax rate was 18%. Bernie Sanders' tax rate was 13%. Are there any questions? She didn't say that he broke any rules because he didn't break any rules. She indicated that months ago, I did point out that the reason that they want his tax returns from birth to today is so they could pull out 2 pages and appoint themselves tax experts. Play O2 again, Shane B. I want to point out something.
He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year.
Taking a write-down, folks, because of business losses is perfectly legal. And oh, by the way, He also paid a higher rate than Warren Buffett. So Rachel Maddow's big bombshell really turns out to be a great big fat thud. I like the thud sound, Shana B. News nugget. A security loophole. A U.S. visa program designed to temporarily admit religious workers from other countries may be letting jihadists into the country. The R visa program is for non-immigrant clerics and religious workers and allows successful applicants to stay in the U.S. for up to 5 years. They are then allowed to apply for a permanent residency under their R1 status. In other words, some of them have snuck into the country abusing this program, and the liberals and the Democrats are all up in arms because this administration wants to do more serious vetting. Whose side are they on? Doesn't sound like they're on the side of the American people. News nugget. Incapacitating North Korea. Let me just say up front, I told y'all. A growing U.S. presence off the Korean peninsula, which includes drone stations, military drills, and even elite American special forces, is reportedly part of a plan aimed at incapacitating the rogue regime in Pyongyang should conflict break out. Yeah. 2 days later, North Korea issued a stern warning to the U.S. that it will launch merciless strikes if an aircraft carrier strike group led by the USS Carl Vinson in the area infringes on its territory. I pointed out some time ago, folks, that if North Korea is dumb enough to attack Japan, attack South Korea, or attack the United States, to quote a former head of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, a general, they will quickly become a charcoal briquette. When I come back, how the media is focusing on the wrong story when the president...
Single solution for a better America.
Very good.
Thank you. Morning, streamers.
You didn't say Pulitzer Prize winning journalist David Cain.
I didn't, did I? And I didn't get all of the cuts in on health care. I'll come back to those. $152.
Oh, I wrote to support at Dynamix. It came back. So I don't know how to get a hold of Jeff John. And they got the wrong.
They haven't made the switch? I saw your email.
Since those union organizers showed up, they're constantly on the shop floor, and they've been bugging me at home to support the union. But I just don't think they'll recruit new members. I thought our state's right-to-work law blocked union officials from requiring us to join or pay dues to a union. That's true, but union officials...
I think what they get is just a live WSB stream and not the 24/7. In fact, I don't know if he gave us a 24/7 link.
Not the company or union officials. What can we do? The National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation can help. To learn about
I think what Zach sent was just the generic listen live link.
Oh, okay. For WSB. Why?
Everything changed yesterday at 11:30 a.m. Our website's different. Everything's different.
So, no longer provide a Herman Cain 24-hour link.
No, there's still one. It's just it's different. It's
Oh.
a new link.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, if you click the link he provided,
Yeah.
it's the live stream of WSB.
Okay.
but not the Cain 24/7.
They got to replace the link for the Cain 24/7. Okay, got it. I'll get to Jeff. I'll tell him to look up your memo. He might be out.
I know. Well, no, Jeff didn't get it.
Oh,
But I'm trying to square away with Ashley if Zach understands what he sent us.
Oh.
He may have sent us the wrong thing.
okay.
So let me. I'll write to him. I don't know if I made.
Herman, how are you, man?
Fine, Jared. How are you?
I'm good. Filling out my bracket tonight. Would you like me to send it your way?
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, I want to see your brackets.
Good. I had to wait for the stupid play-in games to be done before I filled it out.
Are those over, Will?
Go ahead.
Are those over, Will?
I think the last one is tonight at 5.
Yeah.
But they're so ridiculous. I mean, I'm happy for the Cinderella schools, but nobody wants to see a 16 seed play a 16 seed. Like, no, I'm sorry. If I want to see that, I'll just turn on the NIT.
I was about to say that's like watching the NIT. I tried to watch a little of that last night, and it was not interesting.
So Herman, too, we have I think Shane might have told you already, but we've got Daniel shadowing us today. He's an intern with Channel 2. So
Hello, Daniel.
Good morning, Mr. Cain. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
He's a bulldog.
A bulldog.
Yeah. Like me. Like Melanie.
If I had known that, I wouldn't have worn my bulldog shirt today.
Are you?
Yeah. Go to YouTube.
going now.
They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage
If you were a yellow jacket, we wouldn't let
consultants,
you.
So after the day that I wear my yellow jacket sweatshirt, you'll be pissed off.
Yes. Don't tell me about it. Don't let me know.
See?
U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
Okay, coming back.
Got to get this other group tax
Good looking
stuff.
sweater.
Thank you. You're a little biased, aren't you?
Not at all. I work in the media.
And I didn't even know you were going to be here, Daniel. Got to wear my yellow jacket one for Ashley. Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Coming up, 877-310-2100. A couple of questions that you can respond to during rapid fire. What do you think of the information about President Trump's tax return? Was it a bombshell or a thud? Second question. What do you think about the CBO report? That basically was 50% off again in its predictions about the impact of Xi Jinping for a summit next month at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The official cautioned that the plan is only tentative at the moment. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is expected to finalize plans for the summit with Chinese officials as he arrives in Beijing this week. Here's why I share this story with you. I've seen news articles about President Trump spending so many weekends in Florida. I haven't seen one story about the fact that he's still working on the weekends. In other words, they're focusing on the wrong things. And so is Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Jonathan Gruber. Remember what Nancy Pelosi said about the Affordable Care Act?
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Remember what Jonathan Gruber said about the stupidity of the American people?
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage.
and basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever.
And when I come back, I will share with you what he now describes the Republican plan as. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show, 877-310-2100.
Excellent.
We need to
I gotta
stop
run
it.
to the
Hey,
bathroom.
streamers, we need to stop it so we can have news nuggets separate from rapid fire. We'll restart it for rapid fire. See y'all in a minute. Yeah, I'd rather break it up.